Ladies and gentlemen, and online viewers from Africa and Taiwan, welcome to the 2021 Taiwan-Africa Enterprise Forum. I'm your MC today, Xin. This event is organized by BOFT, Bureau of Foreign Trade, TAITRA, Taiwan External Trade Development Council, and ATAF, Africa-Taiwan Economic Forum. 欢迎线上线下的业界先进们参加今日由经济部国际贸易局与外贸协会和非洲驻台经贸联合办事处共同举办的2021年台非企业论坛。我是今天的司仪 Xin。First, we are very honored to have all our distinguished guests today. Please allow us to introduce them. Please wave your hand to the audience on-site and online when your name is called. The first one is Mr. Simon Wang, Executive Vice President of TAITRA, 外贸协会王希蒙副秘书长。The second is Miss Lindiwe Kunene, Secretary d'Affaires Embassy of the Kingdom of Eswatini, 史瓦帝尼王国驻华大使馆临时代办林地薇女士。Mr. Achilles Ye, Director of Trade and Investment Promotion Section, the Kingdom of Eswatini, 史瓦帝尼王国驻华经济投资处长叶卫琪处长。Miss Mosambani, Secretary d'Affaires Liaison Office of South Africa, 南非联络办事处临时代办 Miss Mosambani, 欢迎。Mr. Muse, Head of Development and Cultural Affairs of the Somaliland Representative Office in Taiwan, 索马利兰共和国驻台湾代表处文化合作发展组组长 Mr. Muse, 欢迎。接下来是 Mr. 郑浩户 Ambassador, Department of West Asian and African Affairs MOFA, 外交部亚西及非洲司胡正浩大使。接下来是 Mr. 刘志宏 Deputy Director General, Bureau of Foreign Trade, 经济部国际贸易局刘志宏副局长，欢迎。接下来是 Mr. Richard Lin, Director of the ATAF, 林自强处长，欢迎。再来是 Mr. Jeff Sun, President of TABA, the Taiwan-Africa Business Association, 台湾非洲经贸协会孙杰夫理事长，欢迎。再来是 Mr. Mike Hong, Chairman of Taiwan-Africa Industry Development Association, 欢迎。接下来是 Mr. 杨文裕, President of Taiwanese Chambers of Commerce in Democratic Republic of Congo. 接下来是 His Royal Highness Prince Bankosi, the Kingdom of Eswatini, 史瓦帝尼王国班科西王子。好，接下来是 Miss Sandile, First Secretary of Kingdom of Eswatini, 史瓦帝尼王国驻华一等秘书 Miss Sandile, 欢迎。那最后呢，是我们的外贸协会市场拓展处邱慧丽邱处长。好的 To kickstart today's event, I would like to invite the Mr. Simon Wang, Executive Vice President of TAITRA, to give us opening remarks. 活动一开始，请外贸协会王希凤副秘书长上台为我们致辞。有请副秘书长。
Ambassador Hu from Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Deputy Director General Mr. Liu from Bureau of Foreign Trade, and His Royal Highness Prince Mr. Bengosi, okay, and Director Lin from ATAF, and Chairman of TABA, Mr. Sun, Chairman Sun, and Chairman Hong from TAIDA. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. This is the 16th year that TAITRA helped organize such a forum, Taiwan-Africa Enterprise Forum. First of all, on behalf of Taiwan External Trade Development Council, TAITRA, I would like to express my heartfelt welcome to all of you for your attendance at this significant occasion. Physically or virtually, come what may, you are all very much welcome. Taiwan's bilateral trade with Africa is moving into a very big and very good-looking, I would say, picture. Last year, in 2020, our exports to Africa, hit by the pandemic, suffered with minus 19.5%, nearly 20%. But our imports from Africa grew by 42.2%, which means over 40%. And this year, according to Taiwan's customs statistics, from January to October, our exports to Africa grew by over 40%, 40.7%. And our imports from Africa jumped, high jump, jumped by 100%, 99.1%. So this is amazing, amazing. No matter it's export or import, the growth rate are way above the average of our external trade. Besides, the trade, we're getting very excited with the trade of this African continental free trade area commencing in January this year. And this means a lot. This means a lot because this is the flagship project of Agenda 2063 of the African Union. And it's marking a milestone, I would say, I believe. It's marking a milestone for Africans to speak out loud to the world. The African century has arrived. Ladies and gentlemen, as a trade promotion organization, TAITRA coordinates with relevant government agencies, as well as industrial and commercial associations and local business community. We have launched African project by the way of conducting market survey, forming partnership, organizing delegations to have our mutual exchange. And I would say today we are very pleased to have invited speakers online and physically, from every corner of Africa, I would say. Let me roll call. For example, from east of Africa, we have invited speakers from Kenya, from Mozambique, Uganda, and Somaliland, okay? And in south of Africa, we have invited speakers from South Africa, as well as Eswatini. And in West Africa, of course, Nigeria, the Trade Commissioner of Nigerian Trade Office in Taiwan will be coming very soon in this occasion. And in the north of Africa, we have invited speakers from Algeria, Egypt, and Morocco, okay? In Central Africa, it's from Congo. So among these 11 speakers, we're very glad and very honored to have invited our leaders, Taiwanese business leaders in the local business community from Uganda, Mr. Lin, he'll be online, right? And Mr. Yang from Congo, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to sit tight and buckle up your seatbelt? Because yes, we're going to be landing and start exploring our journey to Africa. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Simon Wang. Now, we would like to invite Ambassador Hu from MOFA to make a remark for us. 接下来有请外交部胡正浩大使为我们致辞。有请胡大使。
Honorable Lindiwe Kunene, Chargé d'Affaires, Embassy of the Kingdom of Eswatini, His Royal Highness Prince Ben Hotsi, the Kingdom of Eswatini, Mrs. Eugenia Sakani Sombeni, Chargé d'Affaires, Liaison Office of South Africa. Mr. Abdikani Muse, Head of Development and Culture Affairs, the Somaliland Representative Office. Mr. Simon Wang, Executive Vice President of Taiwan External Trade Development Council, TAITRA. Mr. Liu Zhihong, Deputy Director General of Bureau of Foreign Trade, Ministry of Economic Affairs. Mr. Jeff Song, President of the Taiwan-Africa Business Association, TABA. Mr. Mike Hong, former Chairman of Taiwan-Africa Industry Development Association, TAIDA. Mr. Richard Lin, Director of the Africa-Taiwan Economic Forum, ATEF. Business leaders online from African countries, ladies and gentlemen, greetings. It is my pleasure to be invited to attend the Taiwan-Africa Enterprise Forum today. I see many distinguished guests and the business leaders gathered here in this event, online or physically, to share their views on opportunities brought by the agreement establishing the African Continental Free Trade Area, AfCFTA. And before AfCFTA came into effect, the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa estimated that the agreement would boost for intra-African trade by 52% by 2022. However, COVID-19 pandemic has had a very negative impact on economic growth worldwide. I believe many concerned about how AfCFTA may stimulate post-COVID-19 economies and help again momentum to boost trade and investment in Africa, as it is important now than ever to accelerate Africa's industrial development. The Taiwanese government attaches great importance to expanding relations with African nations. Our government agencies are promoting the Africa Project, which covers 7 areas: medicine and public health, human resources development, agriculture and aquaculture, trade and investment, energy, mineral resources, and the basic infrastructure, ICT, and expatriate community links. We will be making a big effort to boost cooperation between Taiwan and the African nations in these areas in the years to come. Earlier this month, TAITRA and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs launched business matchmaking program for import from East Africa, in the hope that products from East African countries were flown into Taipei for Taiwan businesses to see. We aimed to build mutual beneficial partnership of economic growth and the development with more African countries. So in closing, I would like to extend my appreciation to TAITRA and ATEF, who make this event possible. I look forward to listening to the insights shared by the business leaders from African nations. And I will see what the government sector can do to help boost trade and investment between Africa and Taiwan. Thank you so much.
谢谢胡大使，谢谢，请胡大使回座。Next, we would like to invite Mr. Liu, Deputy Director General, Bureau of Foreign Trade, to say a few words to us. 接下来欢迎经济部国际贸易局刘志宏副局长为我们说几句话。谢谢刘副局长。
Hello. Good afternoon. It's very good to see you. To be honest, after 3 weeks of quarantine, you really like to see some people and to talk to your friends. That's my personal experience. But I would say 3 weeks ago, I was on a mission with Simons to the Central and Eastern Europe. I think during the trips, we have done a lot, of course, about the trade promotion and investment corporations. But I also pay, just like any modern citizens, you pay a lot of attention to your mobile phones to see what's up, what's the news, what's the activities in Taiwan. And I'm very excited to see that Africa's activity is very lively. I've seen my colleagues doing a lot of discussions on how to promote the activities with Africa. I think this is really quite a change compared with maybe 2 years ago when I first take up this current post. During the time, people are still kind of suspicious how we could move the agenda between Taiwan and Africa because of, I think there's still a common lack of understanding about the importance of Africa's markets and the potential of cooperation between Taiwan and Europe. So I think I have to thank, sorry, I didn't even start with paying my salute to those honorable guests. I hope you could forgive me for that. At least that was save 1 minute. But just let me continue that. I think during these 2 years, I think very thanks to TAITRA. I think BOFT has worked a lot with TAITRA, and they have paid a lot of attention to raise the awareness of the different industrial sectors in Taiwan about Africa. So we discuss about the Africa not only as a whole, not only about the AfCFTA, the agreement as a whole. I think that's a very hypothetical exercise. We want to be more practical. So we enter into a very detailed discussion about the possibility of like e-commerce, like the machinery, like agriculture. I think even those, we still are limited by the pandemic that it's impossible for us to bring a delegation, which I think TABA is already ready for more than 1 year. But unfortunately, we still have to do the internal exercise here. But I do have confidence that after 2 years of intensive public advocacy, there's good momentum in Taiwan. I think people are more perceptible about the information about Africa. And I hope that as we are entering into a new year of 2022, I think it is the time for us to do the real work. And BOFT will do everything they can to support TAITRA, TABA, and EdTech to trying to bring our business people and also to explore these new continents. And I think there's already some, I think we need to catch up with the other neighboring countries, because I think the golden opportunity in Africa is will move very fast. So if Taiwan is slow in this perspective, we may lose this very good golden opportunity. So I thank the EdTech and TAITRA for organizing this work, and also the participation of all the African embassy and the offices in Taiwan. And I think we will do a lot of work next year. So I do look forward to the participation from the private sectors, and let's do something great next year. Thank you very much.
谢谢刘副局长，请刘副局长留步。Now we would like to invite all of our distinguished guests and speakers to have a group photo. Please welcome to the stage all together. 我们现在欢迎所有的贵宾以及讲师来到舞台上合影留念。包含我们的秘书长 Miss Sandile, Miss Achille and Miss Mosambani. And we also welcome our online speakers to show us your screen and say hi to us. 我们也欢迎线上的讲师们上线一起跟我们合影留念。Okay, let's see the camera in front of you. 3, 2, 1. Okay, should we have another group photo without a face mask? Please take off your mask for 1 second. Thank you. Thank you for all our guests and speakers. Please be seated. 谢谢。Okay. Today we are honored to invite 11 speakers to share their insight and experience with us, especially focus on our Taiwan 6+1 core industry policy, including food processing, fishery, textile, and so on. 2021年台非企业论坛非常的精彩，首度邀请了非洲11国的产业专家、工协会代表来跟我们分享台湾6+1的非洲产业，包含食品加工、渔业、纺织等等。First, we have Mr. Yang, Chairman of Taiwanese Chambers of Commerce in Democratic Republic of the Congo, to give us a speech to share his insight on food processing in Congo. Please welcome Mr. Yang.
大家好，我是来自刚果金厦沙，杨文裕，现在在那边担任台湾商会的会长第1届。那我跟大家分享一下，我们是什么机缘到了非洲？在1979年呢，我们离开台湾到了非洲。那时候本来父母亲他们是在做牛皮、皮革机械跟那个牛皮的买卖，可是呢，在那个时候呢，稍微牛皮短缺，南美洲那时候短缺这个牛皮，台湾缺牛皮缺得很厉害。因为那叔叔呢是比我们更早过去到非洲，所以他说：“哎，我们非洲很多牛羊，你可以来这边收啊，甚至制造。”就这样子，我们全家就都过去了。可是因为我叔叔并不是对这个很专业，结果我发现我们到的时候呢，当地把牛皮吃了。羊皮他们是留下来拜拜啦，做这些的，所以羊皮他们不吃。那在这个过程中呢，我们就想办法要去生活嘛。就因为常常跑到这个市场，看这个屠宰场啊，去杀牛啊，干什么？发现他们把这牛肉呢，都用那个水泥袋的内层在包装。 就发现说啊，这个国家，我父亲说这个国家可能缺包装，就联络台湾的朋友啊，把一些目录啦、价钱啊，就传到非洲过来。那因为我父亲本身是一个技术者，所以呢，他很快的就接触了第一餐生意，就持续这样子，就在那边一直在帮台湾卖设备，不只是塑胶袋啦，鞋业那时候塑胶鞋在非洲也是很缺乏，那在90年那时候，我们开始就成立了自己的第一家塑胶袋工厂跟鞋厂，那在那个时候还是不错。5年过后呢，香港有个机构，因为他要扩展他的整个非洲版图，还有他的包装材料，所以呢就把我们工厂给并购。那就这个机缘呢，我就到了奈及利亚，在象牙滩住了18年之后，就跑到奈及利亚。那因为我本身讲法语，所以呢，这个机构呢把法语的地区呢交给我去开发。在10年前那时候就说要找第2个地方去开发。我们下一页。所以那时候我们就选择说到刚果。刚果呢，它人口将近有1亿，有非常好的资源，有矿产啦、森林啦，最主要它人口啦，还有它是一个未开发的国家，没有大量的开发，所以我们那时候就选择到刚果去投资。那再下一页。那为什么会选择走烘焙啊？因为人嘛，就一张嘴，所以1亿多的人口就1亿多张嘴，所以呢，那时候就选择说他们当地的民生必需品。当地可能你们还不清楚，当地有几间面包工厂，可以算是在全世界排名数1数2的，一天有那个生产100多万条的工厂。我们的小了，我们的最多是40万条的生产力。那所以我们就选择了做烘焙，进去这个刚果这个地方。那再下一页。这个是我个人看在非洲40多年了其实很多机会，也很多的生意大家都可以做，可是台湾生意好像我们当地人觉得有点断层。这20年来可能是中国开放。所有台湾的这些厂家也好啦，做生意的人一窝蜂的都跑到中国去投资，那忽略了非洲这一块土地。所以这近20年来，很少有那个台湾的生意人过去，少啦，就由那个他把啦，他们就这样带团过去一直很积极的在做这个非洲的。宣导啦，生意啦，可是毕竟只是在那边短短的几天时间，没有更深入的去在当地做一些推广因为现在的年轻人，现在是数据时候了大数据的时代每一个人一上网，就第一个要先了解非洲，就是上 Google 嘛。就 Google， 你现在打 Google 非洲这些国家，资讯太少，他们无从下手。所以希望说国家啦，或者是说这些有关单位，尽快的可以看说设立一个数据库， 让这些年轻人可以多了解一下非洲。好，当然非洲非常欢迎大机构过来，可是我认为中小企更是重要，他们这更能去跟当地人打成一片。好，我们应该是给年轻人多一些机会，出去外面去打拼。好，所以希望这些数据可以让他们可以更多的了解，还有，还有一些当然的优惠方法啦、优惠方案啦、银行啦、这些融资啦、基金啦，提供一些更多的机会给这些年轻人去使用。那我相信会更多人过去。其实这些人过去就是基础了。好，他们可以做成下一代可以跟国与国之间的很好的桥梁，这是我们台商一直在做的啊。所以希望大家可以多多支持非洲，好，提供一些非洲的资讯给台湾更多的人了解，好，来非洲投资。好，这是我这以上的那个解说，谢谢各位。
谢谢杨会长精彩的分享。Now we have one more distinguished guest, Mr. Ahmed, Trade Commissioner of Nigeria Trade Office in Taiwan, and we would like to invite you to give some words to us. 接下来我们还有一位特别的贵宾，奈及利亚驻华商务办事处阿曼德处长要为我们的活动说几句话。Please welcome Mr. Ahmed.
Thank you, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, Ms. Lindue Kunene, Charge d'Affaires of Kingdom of Eswatini. Your Excellency, Mr. Misene Bombe, the First Secretary of the Kingdom of Eswatini. Mr. Achille, the Director of Trade and Investment Promotion, Section of Kingdom of Eswatini. Ms. Eugenia, Charge d'Affaires Liaison Office of South Africa. Mr. Abdigani Muse, Head of Trade and Culture Affairs of Somaliland. Mr. Richard Lin, Executive Director, AfCFTA. Your Excellency, Mr. Cheng Hao, Ambassador, Department of West Asia and Africa Affairs of MOFA. Mr. Chi On Liu, Deputy Director General, Bureau of Foreign Trade. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and our viewers online in Africa, good morning, good afternoon in Taiwan. Mr. Michael Hong and my friend, Mr. Jefferson of Taba, His Royal Highness Prince Bent Osi, Kingdom of Eswatini, Mr. Simon Sion Wang, Executive Vice Chairman and Vice President of Taiwan External Trade Development, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Dajahao. It is a high honor for me to give an opening remark to these distinguished guests who have gathered here at this Taiwan African Enterprise Forum, the influence of AfCFTA and business opportunities. I wish to thank the Bureau of Foreign Trade, TETRA, and ATEF for inviting me to speak on behalf of African Group. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, you may wish to note that the population of the AfCFTA member countries in Taiwan is more than 300 million, with resources and a wet environment. However, because of geographical distance and lack of information transfer, it is difficult for Africa and Taiwanese businessmen to contact each other. It was for this reason, since the year 2006 and up to now, AfCFTA organized with Tetra an African business leaders visit Taiwan program, for which African businessmen to obtain a basic perspective on trade and market of Taiwan. The event has been a great success, and the result has been very significant. Dear guests, Tetra, TATPO, and ATEF organized Taiwan African Enterprise Forum for at least 16 years. Due to COVID-19, we are unable to invite the business leaders from Africa to visit Taiwan. The forum was organized last year by video conferencing online. We believe this event will promote and advance trade and investment relations between Africa and Taiwan. Moreover, entrench bilateral relationship. It may interest you to note that prior to COVID-19, in occasion of this nature, arrangement for ATEF do arrange five days program for Africa business leaders to explore more business opportunities in Taiwan. We hope everything will be back to normal again soon, and from next year onward, African business leaders will be invited to Taiwan. Africa's economic growth is coming off a low base and translating into GDP growth rates that are significantly higher than in most developed countries, as the continent plays catch up. During this year, business leaders and investors have become increasingly aware of the vast potential in Africa's prosperous consumer market. The scope of AfCFTA is large. The agreement will reduce tariff among 38 member countries and cover policy areas such as trade facilitation and services, as well as regulatory measures such as sanitary standards and technical barriers to trade. The AfCFTA has the potential to increase employment opportunities and incomes, helping to expand opportunities for all Africans. The AfCFTA is expected to lift around 68 million people out of poverty and make Africa countries more competitive. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Africa has long been known for a resource abundance in both agriculture and mineral resources. To date, though Africa has struggled to translate these resources into sustained economic development. Currently, Africa is industrializing, and Africa Industrial Revolution is underway as African manufacturers ramp up production of everything from processed food to automobiles. Africa has room for more Taiwanese companies in the areas of agriculture and food processing, machinery, as well as automobile products. Taiwan has advanced technology when it comes to food processing and the exchange of skills and technology which can assist Africa. Honorable guests, AfCFTA will undoubtedly achieve the objective of fostering agricultural transformation and advancement in African regions as part of the effort to promote food security and competitiveness through the improvement of regional agricultural value chains. Agriculture business ideas are varied and lucrative. There is considerable potential for agricultural business in Africa to perform better. Yet, African farmers face inadequate funding, a lack of expertise, and poor product quality. Therefore, Taiwan's investor can focus on agricultural machinery, investment to increase productivity in Africa, and more business opportunities. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, by means of online meeting, we should have more business opportunity and boost business growth, regardless of impact of pandemic. I would like to thank you all for this impressive event and how Taiwanese businessmen to invest in Africa in order to gain a better market understanding. Wishing you good luck and successful outcomes. Thank you for listening, and God bless. Sheshe Daja, Sheshe.
Thank you, Mr. Ahmad. Thank you so much. Now our forum will have another venue in room 105 at the same time. Please review the agenda on your desk and choose the session you want to join to. If you want to join sessions at room 105, please follow our staff's lead. 接下来是我们的分场论坛。论坛的场地将与本会场及105的会议室同步进行，请检视您手上的议程表。在我们的第二会场105会议室有，接下来是乌干达的台商会长林正良博士为我们介绍台湾对乌干达有潜力发展的产业，以及说明台湾产品如何切入乌干达及非洲市场。欢迎跟随您右手边的工作人员移动到105会议室。那我们后方的观众可以往前坐，这样可以比较清楚的看到我们接下来讲师的影片以及简报。那麻烦工作人员也可以协助一下后方的工作人员往前坐，谢谢。Okay, next we have Mr. Ismail, Director of Ministry of Livestock and Fishery Development of the Republic of Somaliland, to give us a speech on the fishing industry in Somaliland. 接下来我们欢迎索马利兰牲畜及渔业部渔业处长 Mr. Ismail 为我们介绍索马利兰渔业的产业环境。Please welcome Mr. Ismail.
Thank you very much. I would like to appreciate and thank you to this special event. Firstly, I would like to thank you all these participants representing from different countries, from different institutions. I wanted to send a special appreciation to Taiwan Embassy in Somaliland for inviting and welcoming us to here. So really, it's a great opportunity to us to be here today. So I want to say about the status and fishery business opportunities in Somaliland. So, and I hope that many of you didn't hear about Somaliland. And that's also another opportunity to us to introduce you this small country located in Horn of Africa, which is not yet recognized by internationally, but it is an independent since 1991. So, as you see here, I wanted to show you here the Somaliland map, which highlighted Somaliland coastal locations. Also, I wanted to say about here Somaliland fishery sector background. Also, I wanted to say about marine potentiality and fishery constraints in Somaliland. Also, I wanted to say about Somaliland resources available in our sea. Also, I wanted to take some data collected by the ministry in 2020. Also, I wanted to show you the fishery opportunities that can be invested for the foreign investors or the local investors. So go ahead, next page. I wanted to go. Yes, this is Somaliland coastal map, and this is the Somaliland map. This small country was a part of Great Somalia, but now it is restored its independence from Great Somalia in 1991, and you can see here the map. Also, you can see the red color areas, which is showing the Somaliland coastal locations. So this map also shows this that Somaliland has 6 main regions, and our coastal line crossing 3 of them. You can see here the upper or the villages. So, and this is all about the map of Somaliland and the coastal line, which is about 850 kilometers, and this is Red Sea. Okay, go ahead, next page. So I wanted to show you some background of Somaliland fishery sector as well as about the country. This country is endowed, you can see here, this is along the Gulf of Aden and the ocean. Also, this sea or our water has a home to an extensive list of fish species. Regarding various reports produced by UN, produced by international NGOs, we have some various species of fish which is more abundant or specific into our sea, and you can see here some of the fish and other marine resources available in our sea. Also, you will see here in earlier, since there were some of conflicts and some of civil wars in our country earlier, we do not have any comprehensive data related of fish and our marine resources. But for the last 10 years, we are improving to have some data that are available in our ministry. So you can see here also Somaliland fishery stage. The Somaliland fishery industry is still at subsistence level due to some constraints that we see here, like the infrastructures, like the IT fleet, like the labor-intensive fishing methods, and the cleaning manpower. These are some of the constraints that is still facing in our fishermen and causing to not to produce good enough fish for our sea. Also, since we do not have recognition, international recognition from the world, we still looking also the market, the available market is also the challenge for our fishermen. Also, you see here, Somaliland fishery sector has historically not been a priority. We are the livestock, or we always prioritize or emphasize in agro-pastoral system. We are a community society depend on agro-pastoral system. We are not in favor of, or we were not in favor of always the marine resources. But for the last years, our government of Somaliland is establishing Somaliland fishery policy and strategy to shift people to the sea, since we have some prolonged droughts that were affected our livestock, which is the backbone of Somaliland economy. Also, you see here that the government was trying to shift some of the livestock shepherds to the sea, and the government made a pilot project that in Saida, one of the coastal districts, and they try to shift livestock people to the sea, and really up to now the government succeeded that mission, and now these people became the fishermen, and all their life are rely on the marine or marine products. So we also, please go to the next page. Yeah, also you see here some surface that made of the fishing sector has a potentiality of becoming, as a government, as a community of Somaliland, we believe that we have untapped resources in our sea, which our fishermen will not yet benefit from or harvest. So due to some challenges that our fishermen do not have good experience, do not have sufficient fishing gears and appropriate fishing gears, also lacking of good infrastructures, land sites, cold storages. These constraints made that our sea is still potentiality high and also still untapped. So you can see here, but later on, our government realized that the fishery sector can become a major source of employment, a major source of income and growth domestic production, also and still substantial level for income generation based on a strong role by the private sector, including the foreign investment. Also, the growth of fishing industry would help reduce of poverty and improve food security for the relatively poor Somalilanders along the coast. So since the government realized that fishery sector can become one of our major sources, also Somaliland government established what is called national development plans. Now we passed the first 5 national development plans, National Development Plan 2. So now the Ministry of Planning and National Development of Somaliland are going to plan the next 5 years plan for the development, and which is now on our hands. So the fishery sector is the most priority that put in the first line of the Somaliland National Development Plan 3 in 2022 up to 2027. So the government of Somaliland, realizing the economic and social importance of the marine resources, and it took decision to develop and promotion of sustainable exploitation and utilization of the resources to create sustainable and social economic development to its people and an effective protection of aquatic environment. For following to this decision, the government of Somaliland established 5 marine protected areas that can be protected by the Ministry of Livestock and Fishery Development, also the coastal marine guards. So also the government invested some of fishery stations which are 7 areas along the coastal lines of Somaliland. So now that shows that the government realizing and emphasizing to promote the fishing sector of Somaliland. So please, next page. So also, as I already shared some of these survey reports to the Taiwan Embassy in Somaliland in our earlier presentation. So these surveys indicate that high fishery potential in Somaliland's maritime waters, particularly the fishing grounds of the north coast in the Somaliland, which is located in the Gulf of Aden, like these 2 villages. Also, we estimated or we reported here the sustainable yield for the more important commercial species that the government, Somaliland government is believing is about a range of about 115,000 tons annually from our land sites or from our small fishery chattias, which is only 2 now, and currently estimated 9,000 tons locally. The importance of fishery of Somaliland is quite small, with only about 3,000 full-time fishermen and 700 part-time fishermen engaged mostly in artisanal fishing in whole country. According to Somaliland population, which is about 4 million, less than 1 million people are involved into our sea, and we need to promote or to engage more people to be fishermen or to participate in promotion of fishery sector. Also, this number includes all fishery stakeholders, whether fishermen, whether fish walkers, whether fish business people. So according or comparing to our population, this shows that our people are not engaged yet to marine resources. So now we are going to make campaigns, mobilization, people to shift the fishery sector to exploit their natural resources which are available. Also, export fish products account for around 0.5%. And you see how this is. This will be 0.01% of our GDP, and this only 5% is Yemeni boats or Yemeni vessels, which we are neighbor. So the area that we are now keen to emphasize is to have international market. So now the government is emphasizing to establish fishery stations or to complete broken cold chain facilities in order to convince our partners or the foreign investment. So now we are striving to enhance the quality of fish, and we also striving to complete the fish value chain, which is still there is some gaps which we need to fill to be able to export our fish into neighbor countries and into the international countries. So please, next page. Also, these are some of the constraints which faced into Somaliland fishermen, also as a ministry, also as a country. And these constraints are those we still not willing to export our fish, our marine products to foreign countries. So the shortage of boats and fishing gear, absence of really local markets, also the poor consumption of Somaliland, also the challenges. Our people now, they are introducing consumption of fish, but earlier they were not really engaged to use fish or to consume. and attractive work opportunities in large cities have led to general reduction in the number of artisanal fishermen. Also, there is a shortage of trained manpower. Really, our fishermen are still primitive, and they are using a traditional fishing gears, which are not matching a HACCP program, and that will be a challenge to export our fish into foreign countries. Also, onshore facilities coupled with the short berth spaces and lack of repair and maintenance facilities. Since our coast is about 850 kilometers, and now we have only 5 or 7 main fishery cold chain facilities along this long coastal line. So, and we need to increase these cold chain facilities. Also, we need to improve the established facilities in order they become an international standard. Also, the other constraints include the narrowness of our continental shelf and its nature of coral reefs, which are mainly inadequate onshore infrastructures, table fishing gear, seaworthiness, and available fleet affect the efficiency and reduction of the artisanal fishing. Also, the other factor which affects our OCR challenge or constraints in our fishery sector promotion includes the production of artisanal fisheries, which is the lack of qualified skippers and boats to fish beyond the reefs inward the sea. Our fishermen only use small boats, which are mainly outboard machines, so they cannot go beyond, like 2 nautical miles. They only fish from near sea, so it's very difficult to catch more fish and the appropriate or the mature fish. So according to the sources available in our sea, you see here LAC are estimated to have annual sustainable yield, which is 3,000, 4,000 tons per year. In earlier, for 10 years, so our sustainable yield was estimated only 1,000 tons per year. But this shows that after year to year, we are growing it is growing. So, and the most kind of fish which are available in our sea, including the tuna, also when we are talking about the pelagic species. Also, there are some of mesopelagic species, and also we have the demersal species in our sea. And you can see here some of the most common commercial fish available in our sea, which includes the bonito, kingfish, mackerel, although they are a seasonal or migratory fish. Also, these species and their availability can be varied from year to year, depending on the onset or depending on the monsoon winds and currents. Some of the seasonist fishermen claim that there is no fish at sea due to some impacts of monsoon winds and also the currents. All the pelagic species, which include sardines, roncaris, anchovy, and small mackerel and herring, our fish are largely restricted to shallow waters, and their movements depend very much on water, departure, and currents. The seasonal availability of this species is estimated to be 120,000 up to 150,000 tons in a year. Also, a major species of demersal species are groupers, snapper, submarine, barracuda, scampancharis, and such as emperor and sharks. So, although we do not have a statutory stock assessment in our sea, and we've been trying to have this stock assessment many times, For last year, we've been trying to charter a well-equipped vessel from Turkey, but we did not win that due to some problems from their side. So we will see here that the most challenges in Somaliland is due to by lacking of real estate assessments that's available right now. So we have only some reports done by international partners and some of UN like FAO. That's only mostly the data we have right now. Also, accessible demersal species are estimated to be 15,000 in a shack and 20,000 in a race. So demersal species are high-value products and can support a year-round fisheries. So, please, next page. Next page, please. Yes, so this sum of data done by the ministry staff in 2020, you can see here the names, listed names of the most harvested fish type. Also, you can see how they are more abundant in our sea according to the percentage of here. So I added this information just to let you know that the most commercial or the most available fish in our sea. So, okay, next page. This is the seasonal. This chart shows which season is high fishing activities or fishing effort is high in Somaliland, which season is low fishing effort in Somaliland. So then this will show you the most appropriate season that fish is affordable or suitable in Somaliland. Also, please, next page. Also, this is the most important that we wanted to share you here, dear guests. These are opportunities available in Somaliland that the foreign investors and the local investors can invest. So also there may be some additional opportunities that the investors can invest. I think you can read throughout. The next page, due to time. Please, next page. Is that finished? Okay. So I hope this will make some sense. So this is the most opportunities available right now in our country, that we are welcoming any foreign investor who wanted to make a business or who wanted to be a partner to our country, and we are welcoming any person here who is going to involve to these opportunities. Thank you very much for your all and appreciate it much.
谢谢 Thank you, Mr. Ismail. Next, we have Sandile from Skinny Sbu, South Africa, to give us a speech on the textile industry in South Africa. 接下来我们欢迎 Mr. Sandile 为我们分享南非的纺织产业环境介绍。Please welcome Mr. Sandile.
Esteemed guests, business leaders all over the world represented, the SA Embassy, Taiwan Embassy, ladies and gentlemen, I greet you all. I truly appreciate the opportunity that we are given today. I'll highlight a few things today on this presentation. I'll speak briefly on our business, the expedition of industrialization in South Africa, the demand in EU retailers, the opportunities in partnering with local SMEs or the small and multi-medium enterprises to grow manufacturing, as well as our vision. Next page, please. Our business was established in the year 2013. We traded as Skinny Sbu socks. What this means is my business partner is the one who founded the business. His name is Sbu. He's skinny, or he is slim in body posture, and he loved socks then. So the aim was to supply casual and formal socks. Over the years, the business was able to grow. In 2019, we added sports socks, hoodies, sweaters, and t-shirts. And only earlier this year, we introduced kiddies socks. In January 2020, we were funded by our government to buy our first sock machine, because our appetite was now wanting to get into the manufacturing space. Over the years, we managed to sell to individual clients, and to help us grow and sustain the business, then we were able to get orders, or these are bulk orders from local retailers, currently supplying the Foshini Group, a Markham branch. Then we have the First National Bank, who ordered about 40,000 sports socks about 2 years ago. Then we managed to get a mine in the Witbank, one of our provinces in South Africa, that also bought in bulk. So we're able to enhance our footprint across South Africa as a startup, if I may say, and we're able to introduce our brand to an African audience. We are evolving from being a male sock brand into a family-oriented premium good business. Next page, please. The expedition of industrialization. South Africa and the entire African continent is gradually moving into a manufacturing space. I think South Africa has proven itself to be a competitive country and a leader in servicing rendered. By this, I'm talking on financial transaction, I'm talking on risk management and things like that. But lately we're seeing a generation that wants to produce a product that can, come from South Africa, a product that can be competitive to the rest of the world. Zooming into South African provinces and township, business is being centralized or localized to ensure the growth and sustainability of township economy. We have production taking place in our neighborhood, which previously was an activity taking place outside of our residential areas. Next page, please. There's a demand in the European Union retailers through the partnership entered between the European Union and the Southern African Development Community. According to the South African Bureau for Food and Agricultural Policy, farm-level cotton production can create 1 permanent job for every additional hectare of cotton planted. Exporting to the EU at preferential rates under the EU Southern African Development Community Economic Partnership Agreement provides additional incentive for garment production in countries such as South Africa. Next page, please. Opportunities of partnering with local small and medium enterprises to grow manufacturing. We foresee a scenario where countries such as Taiwan can partner with local brands such as Skinny Sbu socks in South Africa to help grow manufacturing. You can offer expertise such as upskilling, factory operations, and supplying of yarn. Alternatively, you can open plants in Africa that can produce machinery. Next point, please. As a startup, our vision is since we now have this and have shown the appetite, have this appetite and shown the desire to move into manufacturing space, we would like to procure about 50 sock factory machines by the end of 2030 and increase capacity and create sustainable employment. In the year 2022, we will commence a garments, t-shirts and shirts factory and gradually grow to can produce all such products. Our plans underway are to open 2 flagship stores in Johannesburg and Durban, possibly complete these by the end of 2022. This will help combat the challenges that we've been experiencing of unplanned price hikes from our suppliers by producing 50% of our products. Currently, our business outsources its products, socks, sports socks, casual socks, t-shirts, hoodies, sweaters from factories in Durban and Cape Town. But because we are unable to plan pricing, at any time prices can increase, and this has a huge bearing on what we sell to our current clients. So our appetite now is to really learn the manufacturing business, get into it. If it means we partner with the experts, either from Taiwan or locally, who can help us, understand manufacturing so that our business can be positioned as one of the leaders within the continent and be competitive as well within the world. Currently, we've partnered, or we are in talks with the Nelson Mandela Foundation, where in the year 2022 we'll be manufacturing 1 million socks. Now, looking at the capacity in South Africa and how this will be rolled out, I foresee a challenge in producing 100,000 units of socks per month. So there will be opportunities of us going to suppliers in Taiwan and other countries to make sure that we meet the demand of our local clients. So we're looking at a year 2022 as a great opportunity for us to grow with the partnerships that are underway, and a possible partnership that we think the Taiwan will be able to give us. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for this opportunity. We hope that this potential will be realized so that growth and income can be realized. Thank you so much. Have a lovely day.
Next, we have Mr. Sbu Gama, National Data Center Head, Royal Science and Technology Park, to give us a speech on the ICT industry in Eswatini. 接下来，我们欢迎来自史瓦蒂尼王国皇家科技园区数位中心主任 Mr. Gama 为我们说明史瓦蒂尼的资通讯产业环境。Please welcome Mr. Gama.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome, and I would like to greet everyone in Taiwan and also all the attendees online. Special thanks to His Royal Highness Prince Bikosi for gracing this occasion and showing the top support that the country has from all the powers that we have in the country. This is a very important occasion for the country and the African continent. Next, please. I will take you through the Eswatini experience through the policy and legislative framework, our ICT industry outlook, ICT infrastructure, and e-commerce opportunities. Mostly because we are looking into ICT to actually boost the economy of the country and enable trade and investment in the country. Next slide, please. Firstly, on the policy and legislative frameworks, the country has made a lot of strides to ensure that we put up an enabling environment for local and international investors. In particular, we are all aware that now with the electronic means of trade, there's quite a lot of legislation that each and every country has actually put up. And as a country, we've actually now putting up the conducive infrastructure in terms of policy legislative, putting up the data protection, cyber crime bills, and the national cyber security strategy. So this is to ensure that we put up an enabling environment for everyone to actually invest and trade electronically. Next slide, please. Looking into the industry outlook in Eswatini, the ITC industry outlook, we've got quite a very good connectivity countrywide. We have 95% nationwide mobile broadband coverage, which enables enough inclusion of everyone to be part of the economy, be it in the urban and in the rural area. We've got a dynamic fintech and financial inclusion policies and activities that are actually going on now. We know that e-commerce without a robust and strong payment system cannot succeed. So the country has is actually taking strides into ensuring that we put up a very robust payment system. The smartphone penetration, looking that now with trade, what is close to a person it's a mobile device. So there's quite a lot that the country is actually doing in ensuring that the citizens in the country have access to mobile devices. This will actually foster trade, as we'll see later, as to how people are now trading online, and social media is actually now the way to go in terms of ensuring that everyone is included into trade. And then there's high illiteracy rate in the country to ensure that people comprehend the use of electronic devices and electronic means to communicate and trade. And then the infrastructure that the country has actually put up for everyone to use to actually drive the economy in the country using electronic means. We've got the data center, which is we'll see later as to what it offers and how it actually looks into bolstering trade and e-commerce in the country. So we've got quite a vast activities that the government, our king has actually put up a lot of investment into the country to ensure that we put up an enabling environment. Next slide, please. Looking into where we are now as a country, we as I said, that the country has invested quite a lot in terms of infrastructure, the connectivity, which is actually critical to ensure that communication moves from one point to the next. The country has actually redundant points in terms of ensuring that we are connecting to Africa and to the rest of the world. We have the breakaway points to South Africa, and we have breakaway points to Mozambique to actually access the undersea cables. So as you can see, that this is actually going to ensure that the country is able to connect and trade and communicate with everyone, be it in the country, in Africa, and also globally. So even the links that connect the country, as you can see, that we've got a west coast and in the eastern coast, and all those are also have got redundancy lines. So this actually will ensure that trade is bolstered, the e-commerce is actually moving in the right speed, because all the companies will always be connected to the internet, which is actually key to move e-commerce. Next slide, please. So this are just the players that one would want to actually ensure that as a continent we see where the country lies in terms of the key players, and also we have our internet service providers, which the country has now actually moved towards liberating the telecommunication industry. So as you can see now, the players are getting in there to actually plug in the gaps that have been there before, and this actually borders well for e-commerce, for startups, for large industries. So the country has now liberated the communication industry for all to trade. Next slide, please. Looking into what Africa can achieve, I think these are projects that actually are showcasing the strength that Africa is putting up in terms of ensuring trade. If you look into this, you can actually see that the connectivity now within the African continent, every country within the continent will have an opportunity to tap into the internet. You can see that we have the Equino cable route on the other side. These are projects, different projects, which actually will ensure that all African countries, all companies trading in Africa are able to actually communicate globally with trade partners. So it's a very good step forward for the African continent, and we are hopeful that with trade and trade partners from Taiwan, we'll be able to actually come in and leverage on these affordances of connectivity that the African continent is putting up. Next slide, please. Within the country of Eswatini, we have one of the most important enablers for trade, which is the Royal Science and Technology Park, which offers quite vast services. This is an institution that the king himself has taken upon himself to actually ensure that the country and all the citizens are able to participate in the economy. As you can see, that the wisdom in actually bringing in a lot of services within one space for the companies, SMEs in the country, large industries to actually utilize to improve their businesses. We've got the National Data Center. Within that space, we've got also a school, Advanced School of IT. We've got the Special Economic Zone. We've got business incubation, biotech research, and we've got contact center. So you can actually tell that the vision and wisdom of the king in actually promoting the country's economy. If it's up to us now as citizens to support the king and government in actually utilizing these services. Next slide, please. Within the National Data Center, as I said, National Data Center is the one that is actually going to bolster more e-commerce, ensuring that we avail modern technologies to all who are participating in the economy. Small and medium enterprises, we know one barrier is finance. They can't actually put up the correct ICT infrastructure. And here the Royal Science and Technology Park, through the wisdom of the king, has actually put up the National Data Center to ensure that everyone is able to tap into IT to bolster their trade and their businesses. Next slide, please. So within the National Data Center, as I said earlier, we as a country, we've actually promoting the use of cloud computing. We are saying to SMEs, to large industries, to all players in the participating in the economy, they can outsource their IT so that they can then focus on their core business. So we provide these services as a national data center to ensure that your SMEs that are crucial in terms of economic growth are able to actually use IT to develop their products, market their products, reach the global space in terms of selling the products and services. So the data center is there to actually provide all these cloud computing services. Next slide, please. E-commerce in the opportunities in the country. Within Eswatini, we actually looking into improving the economic growth using IT in terms of smart living, your e-transport, e-agriculture, e-health. It's very crucial that we get partners from different countries that we can actually work together to improve the economy and social economic space of the country. Smart governance, we're looking into IT to actually assist in ensuring smart governance, smart education, smart business. All these are opportunities that are there for that the countries are willing to trade partners to come and partner with the country in actually pushing the economic growth. We are glad that countries like Republic of China and Taiwan, they've actually taken the initiative to actually work with the country, and we're looking forward to the rest of the African continent to actually also tap into these opportunities and in extension bolstering the country's economy. Next slide, please. These are enablers that we are challenging all the African countries in particular, as much as globally, but within the African space, we are challenging the different governments, different countries, to ensure that there's always government support for e-commerce. Without the government support, we cannot have a thriving e-commerce industry. Protected payment systems. E-commerce, we are all aware that without a payment system that is robust enough to promote trade, because we are now doing it electronically, we need those protected payment systems. Security is quite crucial for e-commerce to thrive. ICTs, we need to see countries in Africa investing into ICTs, as Eswatini has done. Our king, His Majesty King Mswati III, has actually taken upon himself to ensure that we invest in ICT, and the evidence is there. It's not something that the country is just talking about. Evidence is there. Here is the Royal Science and Technology Park that has actually started operating. Education, we need to have our school curriculum embedded with e-commerce initiatives so that we get them young while still in school. Socioeconomics, rural upliftment is quite critical that everyone is actually included into the economic activities. And global connectedness, it's critical that we have cross-border trade and we provide incentives for foreign direct investments. So this is a challenge that we are putting up to African countries and also our trade partners globally to assist in actually coming up with conducive policies and guidelines to have these enablers for e-commerce to thrive. Next slide, please. Matured industries that are already in the e-commerce industry. We've got large industries, we've got ICT, we've got manufacturing, we've got motor industry, we've got retail industry, we've got agriculture. All these industries are actually showing signs of maturity towards e-commerce. It's up to the countries now to provide the enabling environment. And as a country in Eswatini, we, as I've alluded earlier, in terms of putting up the right legislative frameworks and putting up the right infrastructure to actually boost these thriving companies to trade using e-commerce. So it actually bodes well for the country that we are slowly moving towards a matured e-commerce industry. Next slide, please. With e-commerce, unfortunately, we do not have to actually concentrate more on the large industries. We have the small people there in the real industries who want to trade. So it's critical that leveraging on ICT to develop, deploy, promote sustainable development practices to address the growing demand for goods and services. We need to actually promote the small men out there, the small and medium enterprise that is out there. They need to be promoted. You can actually now go to your social media, go to Facebook. You will find people trading there, and Eswatini has actually taken up that. We are seeing a growth in use of social media platforms to trade. And then what we need now, as I said earlier, is the put up the enabling environment, with schools being more involved into e-commerce, with parents, as you can see, taking their kids through the strides into how to use electronic gadgets, and the small man out there who wants to sell his goats, who wants to sell his chicken. As government, as a country, these are things that we need to actually promote, because we have to start small and grow big. So I'm hopeful that from this presentation, we will be able to actually partner with most companies in Taiwan and within the African continent, as I've actually laid out earlier, that the connectivity, geographical distance is now being bridged through the ICT. So as Africa, as an African continent, it's now up to us to actually use that and leverage on it to actually push trade and ensure that everyone is included in the economy. So I think this is what I wanted to share with you, and I'm hopeful that we will take up the challenge and partner into taking the Eswatini economy forward, and in extension, the African economy. Thank you so much.
Sir Gama. Next, we have Mr. Evaristo, Confederation of Economic Associations of Mozambique, CTA, to give us a speech on the machinery topic in Mozambique. 接下来的主题呢是莫桑比克的机械产业环境简介。Please welcome Mr. Evaristo.
Good day to everyone. I am Evaristo Mandim. I am the chairperson of industry portfolio at CTA. CTA is the Confederation of Private Associations of Mozambique. So CTA is the umbrella of the private business in Mozambique. It is a pleasure from us to be part of this event, with the aim to promote Mozambique as an investment destination. And why Mozambique is a good destination? It's because Mozambique has a strategic location in the globe. We are in the Southern Africa region. We are part of SADC. SADC is a region with around 16 countries, with more than 280 million population. So it's a good market in terms of population point of view. And Mozambique is part of the transportation system in the region, because Mozambique we have several corridors which serves three main ports in the region, namely Maputo, Beira, and Nacala. So for this, Mozambique is the country that serves the hinterland countries in Southern Africa, like Zimbabwe, Botswana, Zambia, Malawi, RDC, and also the northern part of South Africa. Mozambique is rich in natural resources. We also have a young and educated workforce. We have access to preferential markets, namely SADC, USA, EU, China, India, and most recently the Africa trade area. Mozambique is a country which is openness to investment, welcoming predictable and transparent investment climate. Also, we have provision of tax and non-tax incentives, protection against property expropriation, non-discriminatory treatment between foreign and domestic investors, which is very important, no restrictions to loans and payments of interest abroad. We are a country which is more known as a friendly country with sincerity and hospitality. Our business opportunities, of course, being industry portfolio chairperson, my most priority will be to promote investment into the industry in order to help the country to manufacture locally. Mozambique imports most of the products, I mean the finished products, because of the lack on local manufacturing. So it's a big opportunity for Taiwanese people to invest in Mozambique in order to contribute to food and agro processing, packaging and printing, wood processing, textile and apparel, building materials, sanitary ware, mining, minerals, oil and gas, furniture, metals and metallurgical, pharmaceutical and health products, development of industrial parts. Mozambique offers tax incentives, which includes exemption from customs duties and VAT on the import of capital equipment, spares and accessory parts. In respect of income tax, there is also facility of investment tax credit, accelerated depreciation, tax deductions. Tax incentives, specific benefits includes basic infrastructure, trade and industry in rural areas, manufacturing and assembly industry, agriculture and fisheries, hotels and tourism, science and technology parks, large-scale projects, rapid development zones, industrial free zones, special economic zones, mining activities, and oil and gas operations. About our taxation system, it's composed by various taxes. We have the customs taxes, duties, which for equipment is 5%, for raw material 2.5%, for semi-finished products 7.5%, for finished goods 20%. Of course, these taxes are not related to investments, which investment is registered and approved in Mozambique. As I said before, you have several incentives on this area of customs duties. Then you have our VAT, which is 17%, and also the income tax, which varies from 10% to 32%. The withholding tax which is payable for dividends, is 20%. Priorities in terms of industries or main products which we would like to promote to our partners from Taiwan. I would like to reiterate that we would like to promote investment from Taiwan to Mozambique by several means, establishing industries in Mozambique, supporting local industries in supply of equipment and technology, also partnership agreements in order to allow Mozambique to manufacture more locally and then be able to export in the region. So exploring the Africa continent free trade area. So on this we have the food products, which includes flours, pasta, oils, rice, meat, etc. The feedstock, the beverages, school, military, hospital, and industrial clothes, footwear, furnitures. As you know, Mozambique is one of the countries where we have diverse species of wood, and we would like to promote the possibility to produce finished furnitures in Mozambique instead of exporting the raw material, which is wood, which is a timber, to abroad. Building materials, also the paints, detergents, varnishes, etc. The fuels, including methanol, GTL, and GPL, packaging, paperboard, school books, etc. Yeah, so all these areas, and one area which I did not include here, which is pharmaceutical, are all very important for Mozambique as the market of consume, but also to export to the region, including the SADC countries and also the rest of Africa. This will, of course, increase trade flows with other African countries. It will allow the reduction of the costs of the movement of goods and services in Africa. I would like to thank you for listening us and also to participate in this event, and reiterate our aim to deal with you about possibilities of investment in Mozambique in order to serve African countries. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gama. Next, thank you, Mr. Evaristo. Next, we have Ambassador Ayula Olukani, Director General, Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, to give us a speech on the machinery industry in Nigeria. 接下来我们欢迎奈及利亚商工矿农总会局长 Ambassador Olukani 为我们带来奈及利亚机械产业的主题分享。Please welcome Ambassador Olukani.
Well, thank you very much for the invitation from Taiwan to be part of this discussion in terms of the AfCFTA, as well as the opportunity, especially looking at the area of machinery in terms of production of goods and other things like that, that will be part and parcel of trading within the AfCFTA. My name is Ambassador Ayola Olukani, the Director General of the Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture. Now, CIMA is the biggest premier national chamber in Nigeria. And of course, as we know, Nigeria is the biggest country in Africa, the most populous country, over 200 million, and also, of course, the leading economy in Africa. And I would also like to say that, of course, Nigeria has been part and parcel of the AfCFTA, the African Free Confederation Trade Area, from the beginning, because our Prime Minister, the late Balewa, was one of those who envisioned this continental trade agreement, which is expected to bring in close to about 1.2 billion Africans, as well as a GDP of close to about 3 trillion in terms of trade activities across Africa. And like I said, it's been a long way coming as far as the AfCFTA itself is concerned. It was envisioned by African leaders way back when the AU, the organization OAU, was started and became the AU. And of course, the Abuja Treaty, of course, we also look at the question of continental integration. And of course, African leaders thought that it's not enough to just have political independence. Economic independence must also follow. And I think that is one of the reasons why consistently African countries within the framework of the AU went on continuously to negotiate for this agreement. And of course, eventually, we know what happened. The AfCFTA came into being. It was signed, of course, in Niamey. And of course, the headquarters is now also in Accra. And so trading activities, of course, has gradually started. But in context of the AfCFTA itself, I think the area of exchange of manufactured goods is key and very important. Other areas, of course, of the agreement include services, investment, and all other issues, other things like that. But in terms of trading goods, manufactured goods is key and very, very important. And that's why this conversation is key and very important. How can we capacitate African countries to be able to effectively trade, especially as far as the question of manufactured goods themselves are concerned? And that's why it's the partnership across from different parts of the world and others who are ready to be part of the AfCFTA is important. Let us remember that it is trading between African countries. The AfCFTA is also designed to be able to help to increase intra-African trade, which is very low these days. That is why this agreement is important. And in context of our discussion, machineries are going to be very useful. Machineries will be used to produce the goods that will be traded under the AfCFTA. And that's why, of course, this is key. And that's why this is important. And why and how are we engaging in this discussion? We're engaging in this discussion against the background of the fact that partners from abroad will be needed to work closely with African countries, companies, to go into joint ventures to produce goods which will be traded under the AfCFTA. But we must take note of something. We must take note of a very important aspect as far as we are concerned. Goods that will be traded within the framework of the AfCFTA must meet the basic good in terms of the question of rules of origins. We must take note of this. Rules of origins. These are facts that these goods must be produced in Africa. And that's why our partners who wants to work with us and take advantage of the opportunities available in this area must take note of that. And the way to go about it, of course, is to have joint ventures between those companies and others, in which African countries, producers and others will, of course, be able to go together and say, yes, this goods has been produced, for example, in Nigeria. And of course, I am going to trade with my counterparts in Ghana. With my counterparts, we are going to send such goods to South Africa, such goods to Kenya and all other African countries. We must take note of this area as far as that is concerned. That the question of the rules of origin is key and very important. And I want to say that part of the vision, as far as the AfCFTA is concerned, is to encourage SMEs in Africa. Because I'll give you an example, SMEs play a very important role as far as Nigeria is concerned. We're talking about the sector, that produces, in terms of GDP, in terms of also the areas of employment, in terms of also the areas of provision of jobs and all other things like that. The SMEs are very important. So we're looking at partnering with Taiwanese companies that can empower SMEs who are into the area of production of machinery. A lot of them are still at very rudimentary stage. We're talking about new technologies these days. How can we empower all these SMEs to be able to produce machine? Because the opportunity is very huge as far as machinery productions and all of those things are concerned within the framework of the AfCFTA, because most of the goods that will be traded under the AfCFTA, of course, will have to be produced by machine. And that's why, of course, we're looking at what can be done. The steel sector is there, machine tool is there. If you look at the agri value chain, most of the production in Africa is still export raw materials. We see export cocoa, we see export cashew nut, oranges, without adding value. To be able to add value within the context of agri value chain, then you need machines. And that is why this discussion and other things like that are important. Now, our experiences in Nigeria has shown us this too as well. Like I said, NASIMA, of course, is looking about the question and issues of 33,000 members who are ready to be part and parcel of the AfCFTA. And one of the things we've been doing is also to continue a dialogue series as far as the AfCFTA itself is concerned, to educate members. These are the potentials as far as AfCFTA is concerned. These are the things you need to know as far as the issues of rules of origin. These are the things you need to know as far as the question of standardization of goods is concerned that will be traded within the AfCFTA. These are the various areas which, of course, is necessary. And I also like to remind all of us that the AfCFTA, of course, we're very, very much happy with it. It is not a 100-meter dash. The AfCFTA, of course, is going to take a long view. We should take a long view of history in terms of the AfCFTA. It took about 60 years to discuss and negotiate and put this agreement together. Now we are starting. It is not an agreement which we say that, oh, within the next 1 year, we must see what we can do to be able to. If we don't achieve anything in one year, then we will lose. The AfCFTA can be a win-win situation for African countries and their partners who may, of course, want to work from abroad in terms of joining African countries to produce goods. And so it's a long-distance race. If you do not win, if you are not able to trade effectively now, maybe you can take a long view of history and look at it down the road. And I'll give it a good example. There's a company which is producing coffee and looking at effective participation, producing coffee and exporting coffee from Nigeria to other African countries. What they've done is to acquire land, and then they are waiting for partners who can work with them to be able to produce coffee that will meet the standard and the regulation to be able to trade across Africa as far within the context of the AfCFTA. That's why we're indeed very glad we're having this discussion. It's going to be the beginning of a long discussions in terms of what's to be done. And of course, I sincerely hope that now that we are winning the war against COVID-19 with the vaccine, and then there can be travels, partners who are ready to work with African countries and companies in context of the AfCFTA. We'll be able to travel, of course, and also meet ourselves and discuss and see what we have to offer in terms of capacitating, especially African SMEs in context of be able to produce goods which can be traded within the framework of the AfCFTA. Like I said, this is a focused discussion as far as machinery itself is concerned, because machinery, production of machine and tools and what is needed to be able to produce goods is key and very important, because at the end of the day, the African Free Trade Area Agreement, of course, is looking at not only services. Indeed, the question of trading goods is key and very important as far as this is concerned. I must also raise the issue, of course, also the question of standard as far as this is concerned, because goods that will be traded as far as AfCFTA itself is concerned must meet certain basic requirements. And that's why the question of standardization is important. In terms of machinery itself, the standard machinery that will be required and be able to produce all of these tools that are needed in terms of capacitating African countries, capacitating companies is key and very important. We in NASIMA are quite very happy with this. We come along with our partners in Taiwan. Before COVID-19, we were always part of the Taiwan trade fair, the exhibition, and the annual dialogue between Taiwan and Africa. And of course, I am indeed very glad and very delighted that we continue this dialogue, and we're still working to see what we can do in terms of concretizing the abstractions, in terms of the AfCFTA itself is concerned, and also who are our partners. Like I said, at the end of the day, the key issue is for us to be able to have joint ventures between our partners, so that at the end of the day, when the machineries, of course, are developed, are used to produce goods, you'll be able to meet the rules of origin as far as goods that are produced are concerned to be traded across Africa, among African countries. And I'm very sure that, of course, the AfCFTA is going to be very useful in terms of upscaling into our African trade, which is very, very low now. Ironically, Africa trades more with the rest of the world than itself. And I think this is why this dialogue is key. This is very important. And of course, we're indeed very glad we are having this discussion. And I'm sure that at the end of this discussion, the outcome document will, of course, help us to do a roadmap for collaboration between companies in Nigeria and companies in other African countries with their Taiwanese counterpart as far as this is concerned, so that how do we concretize the abstraction? How do we take advantage of the opportunities which have been identified as far as the AfCFTA is concerned? Very many areas. For example, also in Nigeria, the energy sector, the agricultural sector, areas of IT too as well, in terms of the new revolution that is unfolding before us. How can we use IT to be able to develop sophisticated machineries and equipment which are needed? The factories of the old are gone. New factories are now, of course, being automated. These are some of the areas which, of course, will be required. And, of course, so that we can think out of the box to see what we can do as far as these issues itself is concerned. And I think this is a very good discussion. It's a very good debate. And I'm indeed very glad that we're having this discussion against the background of the AfCFTA. What are the opportunities, especially in the area of machinery? And I think, of course, Taiwanese companies are good partners. We work closely with some of them in Nigeria, and we're looking forward to new areas, new frontiers, as far as this is concerned, to be able to take the entire value chain, as far as agri is concerned, add value, be able to do some export within the context of the AfCFTA. Taking note, like I said, the question of the rules of origin, which is key and very important if you want to talk about trading within the context of the AfCFTA. Once again, from the video clips you've seen, Nigeria, of course, is the place to go as far as this is concerned. 200 million people, and of course, the biggest economy in Africa, because certainly without Nigeria, I don't think we will be able to talk about an effective AfCFTA. And this has been demonstrated in terms of the overture by the AfCFTA Secretariat itself. But I think at the end of the day, we are talking about a new Africa that we want, the Africa we want, which is talking about the Agenda 2063 as far as Africa is concerned, a fully developed Africa, improve the well-being of the people of the African continent, and of course, eradication of poverty and the standard of living in terms of our people are concerned. Talking about 1.2 billion people across Africa. So this is my contribution from this end. I thank the organizer for the invitation for this discussion, and like I said, we're eagerly looking forward to when the travel restrictions because of COVID-19 will be over. And then, of course, we can be able to travel across, and then we can also invite our Taiwanese counterpart to Nigeria to discuss and explore the various areas which is required as far as these issues themselves are concerned, so that we can both get ourselves ready, put together joint ventures that can truly become an African establishment, and then, of course, be able to trade with other African countries and produce goods which we can export, we can trade within the context. It is possible for us to project this discussion as a win-win situation, those on the Taiwanese side, as well as also on the Nigerian side, African side, at the end of the day, in terms of what exactly we're supposed to do and what exactly is supposed to be done. I thank you very much for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here, and I look forward to more discussions, debates, subsequently, and then meeting ourselves beyond these virtual meetings which we are holding these days. Thank you very much for the invitation. Once again, my name is Ambassador Ayola Olukoni. I'm the Director General of the Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture. It's a pleasure to be here, and we're looking forward to more participation and more discussion and dialogue as far as the AfCFTA itself is concerned, to be able to, the vision for developed Africa through agreements like this, an economic agreement like this. Like we said, the vision of the forebearers is that political independence is good, but economic independence must follow. And I think this is where we are at today. We are seeing the economic aspect of development of our political independence to be able to see what we can do to impact positively on the lives of Africans, on the lives of people of the African continent at the end of the day. Again, thank you very much for the invitation. I feel highly honored and look forward to more engaging discussions in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Olakani. Today's forum is finished. We appreciate all of your participation. We hope this event has helped you better understanding of African industry. Thank you for joining us today.